time. Senator Whitehouse.
Thank you, Chairman, and welcome, Judge Garland.
Thank you, Senator.
People who've been prosecutors understand that it's not the legislature's business to meddle around in a prosecution. At the same time, we have oversight responsibilities. In your view, is it appropriate for Congress to ask the DOJ give an honest look at investigative matters?
Senator, I know of your own long experience as a prosecutor, including some of it which overlapped with mine, and I'm deeply respectful of it and appreciative of it. When you ask it that way, it is, of course, always possible for anyone to ask about matters like this. The department has to be very careful with respect to the Congress, in the same way it has to be careful with respect to the White House, that no investigations get started just for partisan and I'm not in any way suggesting that that's what you were asking.
Nope, I agree with you.
But we have to be careful about this.
And after the fact, once a investigation is closed or concluded, is it appropriate in the exercise of our oversight to assure that, in fact, an honest look was taken?
Yes, of course it is. There are obviously limitations on the department's ability to speak. They include everything from grand jury
Rule
material and
so
sources
forth.
and methods.
Understood. With respect to January 6th, I'd like to make sure that you are willing to look upstream from the actual occupants who assaulted the building, in the same way that in a drug case, you would look upstream from the street dealers to try to find the kingpins, and that you will not rule out investigation of funders, organizers, ringleaders, or aiders and abettors who were not present in the Capitol on January 6th.
Senator,
Fair question?
Fair question. And again, your law enforcement experience is the same as mine. Investigations, I began as a line assistant U.S. attorney, and I was a supervisor. We begin with the people on the ground, and we work our way up to those who are involved and further involved. And we will pursue these leads wherever they take us. That's the job of a prosecution.
As Chairman Durbin mentioned, there have been widely reported problems within the department in the last 4 years. The Judge Gleason's brief for Judge Sullivan is one pretty stunning reproach of the department. Judicial decisions out of the D.C. District Court and the Southern District Court have been pretty damning, and press reports, too many to mention, have raised concerns about problems within the department during that period. How do you plan to assess the damage that the department sustained so that you can go forward with a clear understanding of what needs repair?
Senator, I am a strong believer in following the processes of the department. That was my experience and all of my experiences at the department, regardless of whatever level I served. The traditional process is for issues to be raised before either the Inspector General or the Office of Professional Responsibility in the areas that you're talking about, that they conduct investigations, and they certainly seemed extremely capable of conducting thorough investigations. They then make recommendations, and that would be the normal procedures in the department, and I would expect, if I'm confirmed, that those would be the kind of procedures I would want to follow.
Well, I would submit to you that you may want to take it on more systematically than that, but we can leave that for a later day. On this committee, and particularly on this side of this committee, we have experienced more or less a 4-year stonewall of information from the Department of Justice and from the FBI. For 2017 to 2020, we had 25 DOJ and FBI witnesses who failed to answer some or all of the questions for the record that senators asked them. 21 answered none of the questions of the record from either side. I have sent, during the course of those years, 28 different letters on various subjects that went completely unanswered. It got so bad that Chairman Graham brought the Deputy Attorney General up to meet with him and me to go through the list and try to figure out why the hell we weren't getting answers and where the policy came from, the de facto policy of refusing to answer questions of senators. I think we need to understand what happened during that period, why these questions weren't being answered. The base question, the point of entry is, why were these questions not being answered? Upon whose instructions were these questions not being answered? Why? What was behind? What was the motive for refusing to answer these questions? Once we've cleared that up, then I think we've got to go through the backlog of questions that the department refused to answer. As you know, sometimes Congress asks questions that are touchy for a department. Somebody may have misbehaved. There may be wrongful conduct that has taken place. And I hope you will agree that covering up misconduct is never an acceptable reason for refusing to answer questions of Congress.
Well, I certainly agree that covering up anything is never an appropriate reason for not answering a question of Congress. There will be no policy, de facto or otherwise, if I am confirmed, that would direct the department to not be responsive to this committee and to its members. I want the department I lead to be as responsive as possible, and at the very least to explain why, if it can't answer a question or can't answer a letter, why it can't do so.
Correct.
Think that's the minimum you're entitled to.
Correct. And I don't want this just going forward. I want to be able to go back and get answers to those backlogged questions that were wrongfully refused. Would you help us make sure that that happens?
Yes, Senator. As we talked in our conversation before, I would definitely direct that the previous questions be answered. I only ask you and the other members of the committee, as a matter of resource and priority allocation, to give us the department some sense of the priorities of which ones still need to be answered, and perhaps even in what order.
We will do that. And last, I have just a few seconds left, so I'll just flag two things. I think that the Office of Legal Counsel has taken a lot of hits, from the torture memos to the warrantless wiretap memos to the Southern District decision to the D.C. Court decision to its extremely self-serving and self-propagating view of presidential investigations. This is a part of the department that I think is in real trouble. Another role of the departments is the policing and the intermediation of executive privilege for an administration. And I think that is an area that has been in complete collapse. And I look forward, with my time now expired, to working with you to figure out what to do about OLC and what to do about the intermediative role of the Department of Justice when executive privilege is asserted.
Thank you, Senator. I look forward to speaking with you.